Of course, it is a very beautiful and colorful Tuesday, the 27th day in the month of August 2024, and I'm super excited to welcome you to the Breakfast Cafe on High Impact Television. I am Sarah Owusu-Ansah, and I trust your week started off on a very great note, because mine did. And I would not be having a solo show. You already know that when you see me here, I'm not by myself, and I have a very beautiful lady just right beside me. I'm sure you guys already know her. She prides herself so much in her hair, and I'm usually so jealous. But hey, good morning, Vivian.
Hi, Sarah. I was going to say your makeup is on point today. I like it.
Thank you.
And your outfit, Lilac.
Thank
gosh, you're killing me.
I'm shy. I'm shy. Camera, please.
Oh my God, how are you? You
I'm
slept
very
well?
well. I did my best.
All right. Good morning to you guys. It's such a pleasure to be here once again. This is a privilege, actually, and I don't take it lightly. Right? It's like Sarah said, it's Tuesday already. Oh my gosh. It's flying. The week is flying. Well, my name is Vivian Oguche, and this promises to be another bumper edition, yeah? So let's take a break. When we come back, we got some banters for you. You'll be shocked what you're talking about today, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So the thing, banter. So what we're talking about today is the thin line between humor and heartfulness. Gosh, this is juicy, I'm telling you. So what's this about? Now, the thin line between humor and heartfulness refers to the delicate balance between making a joke or humorous comment that is funny and inoffensive. That's key. And one that is offensive, hurtful, or alienating. Let me take that again. The thin line between humor and hurtfulness refers to the delicate balance between making a joke or humorous comment that is funny and inoffensive, and one that is offensive, hurtful, or alienating. This line can be difficult to navigate, as humor is subjective, and what one person finds funny, another might find hurtful. Factors that can influence where this line is drawn include: 1, context, the setting, audience, and purpose of the humor. You can be in a religious event and go cracking sexual jokes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so context matters. 2, intent, whether the intention is to mock, belittle, or entertain. 3, language. Yeah, this is so important. The words and tone used can greatly impact how humor is received. 4, cultural background. Different cultures have varying levels of sensitivity to certain topics. And number 5, personal experiences. Individuals' experiences and traumas can affect what they find hurtful. This is so true. 6, power dynamics. Humor can be used to reinforce or challenge existing power structures. I think Sarah's got more.
Yeah, you know, I like the fact that we're talking about this, because so many times we've hit people at their very lows, because we've said certain things because we're trying to make a joke, we're trying to be funny, we're trying to be humorous, and at the end of the day it ends up hurting them. You know, growing up we saw a lot of that happen. Some people just, especially your friends, they just say it as a joke. Or imagine someone that doesn't have a father or a mother, and someone is just trying to crack a joke, and they say something like, you don't have a father. You're talking to people like, the person could just be saying it from a place of, oh, we're friends now. But deep down, you see that this thing hurts you, because this is the loss of a loved one, you know. So things like that. Some people, they try to make a joke out of their disability. There are people that are disabled, and people try to make a joke out of it as friends or what have you, but they find it very offensive.
Yeah, I mean, if someone who is disabled makes a joke out of their own disability, it's a totally different thing.
But you are not disabled, making a joke out of someone that is disabled is a big deal. And also, you mentioned religious setting earlier. There are people that make jokes about some certain religions or some certain denominations of a particular religion. They might just be saying it as a joke, but the other person who belongs to that religion or that denomination might find it very offensive and hurtful.
Do you know this thing that you are saying made them shift, you know, beauty pageant in Nigeria to somewhere else because of this religious undertone.
So we need to understand these things: culture, religion, color of skin, background, experiences, disabilities, educational history. People need to understand to draw the line between humor and hurtfulness.
Also, Sarah, have you noticed, or did you notice that when comedy was becoming a thing in Nigeria, these comedians will go making jokes out of people's personal lives?
Yeah.
Even people that are attending the event, and some people will just laugh, but it hurts.
Well, I think that for comedy, they've gotten to a point where you know that it's comedy. That's the job. You know, sometimes you watch comedy shows and they mention the name. The comedian is making a joke out of somebody, and the person is there, and they actually mention the name. And you see the camera just goes to the person, and the person will
laugh. What else would you expect him to do? Frown?
But I think that, you know, there's a level at which you understand comedians, especially if you have a relationship with the comedian, like you know the person one-on-one. You just know that this is what the person does for a living. But they should also learn to draw the line.
That's why we're having this conversation. That's
drawing
a thin line.
You don't make a joke out of someone that just lost the baby. And you know, you're trying to crack your jokes as a comedian, and that's your reference point. The person might laugh on the spot, but deep down could be hurting. But let's see what we have here. It says when humor crosses the line into hurtfulness, it can do a couple of things. The first one is it can perpetuate stereotypes and discriminations. Very, very true. Also, it can minimize or trivialize sensitive issues. Very true. It causes emotional distress or offense, and it creates a hostile or unwelcoming environment. Now, to avoid crossing this line, consider 1, knowing your audience. Very, very important. Don't host an event where you have people of a particular group, a particular maybe cultural group or cultural or religious group, and you're making a joke that affects them. You need to understand the people you're talking to, your target audience. Also, be mindful of your language and tone. Very, very important. Pick your words carefully. Don't just use any word anyhow, and how you also present it. The tone is very, very important. Avoid sensitive topic or approach them with care. Be intentional about this. Also, you know, be aware of power dynamics. Vivian stated this earlier. And apologize if humor is perceived as hurtful.
This is Jermaine.
So the moment you crack a joke and is not well received, the ideal thing to do is apologize on the spot and don't drag it any further. Now remember, humor should aim to bring people together and not drive them apart. The moment you're trying to be humorous and you're driving people apart, separating them, you've lost the focus. But that's it on our Banters and Etiquette segment. We hope you've learned 1 or 2 things from drawing the line between being humorous and being hurtful. We'll take a break now. When we're back, we'll delve straight into the newspaper review segment of the show. So stay with us.
All right, you're welcome back if you just joined us. This is the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. My girl Sarah and I, Vivian, are in the house. Now, this segment is all going to take a look at the major headlines and the national dailies. We begin with The Punch. And if you're game, well, let's get the show on the road. The Punch, a major headline: federal government to shut errand fuel stations as petrol hits a whopping 1,000 naira per liter. I got one writer to that story. It says queues persist in NNPCL, major marketers stations as PMS shortage worsens. We also have this one here on the front page of the Punch. WASC, ASU, okay? WASC is a subtitle. ASU, NUT, differ as federal government bans under 18 candidates. You get it as of that story, page 2. Right below that, subtitle, kidnapped doctor, patients groan as NARD strike grounds hospital. This is very unfortunate.
Very.
Yes, page 7's got details of that story. And then I can see here now a big badge. What's it about? I see something like a rescue zone on it. Let's find out what's happening. 136 Europe-bound African migrants rescued at Spanish ports. Page 43 has details of that story. You know, Sarah, people seeking greener pastures. I mean, they don't care what they have to go through just to get to the other side.
We've seen a lot of people lose their lives,
yes,
in the process of this, and it's a big concern because of, like you said, people just want to look for greener pastures without considering the fact that this supposed green pasture might actually be the end of them, but they would rather take the risk.
Gosh. All right, let's see what this one says on the front page of the Punch. It says, ASU protest LASU members dismissal, brands VC enemy. ASU protests LASU members dismissal, brands VC enemy. Also on the front page of the Punch, you have the story, Nigeria's first Olympic medalist, Mayegun, dies at 85.
That's a huge loss for us.
Yes, a huge loss. And above the masthead, you have PDP jubilates as appeal court restores Ighodalo's candidacy. Page 10 has details. Last but not least, on the front page of the Punch, claim I'm working for APC, PDP, laughable. This is coming from Akpata. And this is a story worth checking out. Just go to page 7 and get details of that. And that wraps it up for us on the front page of the Punch.
Right, we move very quickly to the Vanguard newspaper, but do not forget that you can be a part of this conversation. Do also call us to contribute to any of the stories making the rounds this morning, or you like to bring us up to speed. Any information you want to give us, we're here for you. 0812-182-0154 is the number to call. Straight off to the Vanguard newspaper, and it greets us with a story that has to do with education. Now it says, outrage as federal government pegs age for writing the West African Senior School Certificate Examination at 18 years. I take that again. Outrage as federal government pegs age for writing the WAEC at 18 years. We have a couple of writers to that story. It will draw back education. That's coming from the NUT. We'll go to court. This is from parents. We'll respond later, says WAEC. We want meeting of stakeholders. That's from Konwa. Why are parents rushing their children? This is from us. You know, seeing this headline yesterday, it was mixed feelings, right? Pegging it at 18 years before you can write WAEC. Bearing in mind that these days, most children or teenagers by 15, 16, they're already in SS3, SS2, and you get to write your WAEC at that time. Some people wrote theirs in SS2, some people wrote theirs in SS3. Now, moving into 18 years, does that mean that does that connote the fact that there will be a total overhaul of the current educational structure?
That's the thing
that we have. That means maybe you have to be 18 years before you're in SS3. Now, two ways. It might actually help to build the child to be more equipped for higher institution. And we might also see people that are altering their birth certificates just because they do. I would not want to sit at home if I had to finish school at 15, 16, and I have to wait till I'm 18 before I write the West African examination, school leaving examination. And it's a big... the first off, what is the motive behind this move? Why are we pegging 18? Now, this would also mean that the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAMB, might also review this and push theirs forward as well, maybe 18 or 20 or what have you. I don't know. But But what would this do for the educational sector? Bearing in mind that we run an educational system where when you enter a university, your 4 years is not guaranteed if you are going to a federal university.
Yeah.
So if you have to wait till you are 18 before you can write WAEC, and you probably don't get it at one sitting, I'm just saying, and you have to write it again, maybe you're 20, you enter school, as so happens, and you have to spend maybe 6 years instead of 4 years. All these things are concerns that need to be well addressed.
These are very valid points that you're raising, and I'm glad. I was listening keenly to the writers you read. Perfect alignment. You see, reactions. I'm glad that there are reactions to this. It means authorities. The authority must make a review. But there's something you said. What happens if you finish at 15? What happens between 15, 17, 16, 18? So maybe the authorities will have to come up with a program that people who are waiting to clock 18 will go through.
That's what I'm saying. It's either they do that, or there's an absolute overhaul where you probably cannot enter nursery school or primary school till you're 6 years old.
So what do you do between 1 and 6?
You learn it from home.
You know, education.
If you go to other climes, you can't start school until you're probably 5.
Okay.
Some climes you can't start school till you're 5. So you're home taught. You are learning something at home, your parents are taking care of you. Most of them watch videos on, social media to learn. Their parents also buy materials for them to learn. So by the time they are going to school, they already have a certain knowledge that they are going with.
This sounds good to me. This is music to my ears. If it's done this way, it's fine. And Sarah, education, holistic development is not purely academic.
Yeah.
There are other forms of education as well. But I think if this is handled very well and all these concerns are taken a look at, pan out well.
Absolutely. That's it on that story. It's a big read on the Vanguard newspaper. Just above the nameplate, we have this one. The Central Bank of Nigeria lifts ban on lending to banks, pegs interest rate at 31.75%. You get details on page 20. Global Union, others decry worsening rights abuse in Nigeria. Where's the lie? And bad governance as rights activists condemn 60-day detention of 75 protesters, including minor. Very disturbing. That's on page 6. AMCON enlists international asset tracers to recover 5 trillion naira debt. You get details on page 14. Also, we have this one here that says on the Vanguard newspaper, Nigeria records 166 barrels per day below budget benchmark. That's according to a report. Beside that story, Tinubu appoints Mohammed as DG NIA, Ajayi as DG of DSS. That's on page 9. Appointment flying everywhere. Still on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, will implement state police, says Ondo, Rivers and Jigawa governors. That's on page 40. We'll get into the details of that shortly. Separate office of Attorney General of the Federation from AGFG. This is coming from PDP governors. This is a page 9 read. Floods kill 49 in Jigawa, Adamawa, Taraba, displays thousands. Very disturbing headline. What are we doing? There's this, is it NEMA?
National Emergency Management Agency.
What are the plans that are put in place for people that are victims of these things? I always say something. Most times we have reports that, these areas are prone to flooding way beforehand. But at the end of the day, it's as though we always hope for a miracle to happen, and those things will not happen. And then when it now happens, we are looking helpless.
You always say something about proactiveness, not being reactionary. But,
that's it. We have a major challenge in that aspect, I must say.
Yeah, just yesterday, Olumide read one of the headlines, and it was some of the states had resorted to building IDP camps for people because of flooding. Now you become a member of an IDP camp, internally displaced persons, not because of its insecurity anymore, but because of flooding. It's I can't even wrap my head around it, and it's very unfortunate. So it behooves government, like you said earlier on, for them to be proactive.
Very, very, very necessary for them. You don't just wait until everything has fallen apart before you start to take action. But I think we have one more story on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, and this is sports page 44. This one has it as AFCON qualifiers, coachless Super Eagles battle ready for Benin. and Rwanda. I take that again on the Vanguard newspaper, sports page 44. AFCON qualifiers, coachless Super Eagles battle ready for Benin and Rwanda. I want to believe that we'll have a coach very soon for the Super Eagles.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But that's it on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
Well, I've got The Guardian, right? And then on the front page of The Guardian, major headline, Tinubu hints at economic recovery amid inflation and deficit concerns. Page 6 has the details. And there's this very bold infographics. I got the caption, largest economies. Let's see if Nigeria is there. The USA leads, right, followed by China, Germany, Japan, India, the UK. Wow, the UK is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The UK comes after India. Wow. And after the UK, France, Brazil, Italy, Canada, no African country. But here's the thing. Right there says, based on IMF's estimates, Nigeria's GDP in US dollars declined from $477 billion in 2022 to $375 billion in 2023. It is estimated to drop to $253 billion in 2024. And then it says, with the continued devaluation of the local currency, Nigeria's GDP may drop below the estimates. Away from that, IPOB threatens violence and alleges ethnic cleansing in Imo. Page 29 has details. Also, this one here says, massive drop in enrollment threatens existence of Unity schools. I don't know, Sarah, if you attended a Unity school, but it was a dream I had once upon a time. This Unity school, where you have exchange programs. You leave your school to another state totally, and then the school you're attending sends their own student to your own school, and then it's like an exchange program. Really nice.
I never attended one.
Oh,
and I don't think I had the dream.
I had a dream because I wanted to understand what it is about other cultures apart from mine, you know, which is what what's it called
National
now?
Youth Service
yes,
Corps.
it's what the National Youth Service Corps does. I think you helped me take it up from there. The Guardian.
Okay, so some other stories trending on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. We have this one, senior advocate of Nigeria, I beg your pardon, Femi Falana rallies NBA against illegal arrest and detention by police and others.
That is important.
We will be getting into the details of this whole conversation surrounding illegal detention, you know, protesters being arrested. We'll be talking about it with a professional in that area later on the show to have a proper understanding of these, because so many times we've heard reports, even if we're even going to start from 4 years ago, NSAS protest.
Yeah. Just
last week, towards the end of last week, we got the report that 6 of them had been released after almost 4 years. You know, we seem to have a problem with I always say that thing, our process of delivering justice, or our judicial system, or our justice system. That's why you can detain people for months, for years, without any concrete. Now look at the end bad governance protest. Now some of the protesters, I remember Dedi Adeyanju, who you know, he was talking about the fact that the police have not even been able to really say what the offense of these protesters are exactly, which is a disturbing issue, I must say. But now Femi Falana has, you know, rallied the NBA against illegal arrest. You get all of the details on page 6.
I'm glad he's jumping on that particular matter.
You were the one saying it a couple of days back that, you know, you've not heard what is Femi doing.
Now he's talking, and we know he's talking. I like it.
I think he has always, he has not withdrawn. He has always been vocal, you know, talking about this.
I like it. You have this one here that is very interesting. Opposition working for
Tinubu's second term.
This is coming from Lukman. Yeah, it's interesting.
Surprising to see that headline.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to check it out. If you want to check it out, just go to page 3. Police also arrest 97 suspects over Abuja attack. Huriwa now urges prosecution. Also, Oshun confirms monkeypox right? Osun confirms monkeypox and activates, let's say now, it's activating emergency response. Also, NARD begins warning strike, demands immediate rescue of a kidnapped member. We also have APCON enlisting international traders or tracers to recover 5 trillion assets from debtors. So there are people who are called tracers to trace debts. Let's see now if that's all. Yes, and it's a wrap for us on the front page of the Guardian.
Right, very quickly we'll take a look at the Daily Trust. We move very swiftly, and this one greets us with this major caption: 21 states seek 1.65 trillion naira loans despite 40% rise in FAAC revenues. Couple of writers to that story. You can get all of the details on page 4. MRA condemns incessant harassment of journalists by police. Very, very important there. Beside that story, Borno, Yobe, Adamawa children battling malnutrition escalation. This is coming from UNICEF. Bandits abduct 7 farmers in Kaduna, demand 2 million naira ransom. We're still on this issue of bandits kidnapping farmers, attacking their farmlands. A big issue, insecurity, even in regards to this affects our food security as well.
Yes, and that's where that's why it's becoming very disturbing. Farmers are becoming the target of these bandits and kidnappers. This must be nipped in the bud.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But still on the Daily Trust newspaper, youth angry. There will be trouble if we don't act. This is coming from former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo.
That's another very vocal person.
Absolutely, but you get details on page 6. President Tinubu replaces DSS, NIA, DGs. That's on page 7. Clash, IGP orders manhunt for Shiite sponsors as 97 arrested. That's a page 6 read. And in business news, GDP grows by 3.19% in the second quarter. That's on page 23. And that's it on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. And on that note, we'll take a break. When we're back, we'll be having a conversation with our guest to analyze some of the stories this morning. Do stay with us.
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, "What a ride." High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Find your limits. Go go-karting. High Impact Planet. Fun just got real.
Welcome back. This is a Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV, and if you just joined us, you're welcome aboard. Always a pleasure to have you join us. This is the second part of the newspaper review, and we've got a guest analyst. He is Dr. Kayode Adedayo. He is a socio-political technocrat. Good morning, Doctor. It's good to have you on board.
Yes, good to be with you this morning. Don't mind me. I've been with you since almost 10 minutes. So when you were asking, is that Kayode on? Yes. And you were saying, he always listens to some things you say, you know.
You caught me. I called you. I called you an FBI.
Thank you for telling us.
And I also decided I won't allow you to be harassing me with a cup of coffee. I have my own coffee here.
Doctor,
that's a good way to
my God, this is 1-0. I'm going to equalize very soon.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, it's a pleasure to you. I like your vibe, really. So let's hit the ground running. Yeah, I've got the story here. FG to shut errant fuel stations. This is on the front page of the Punch. The federal government to shut errant fuel stations as petrol hits 1,000 naira per liter. Let's get your take on this, Doctor.
When I was reading that thing late last night, I was thinking to myself, who are the people that are going to shut it? Is it the DPR? Is it the DPR? Because DPR is supposed to be having oversight function.
Absolutely.
On all those filling stations. To what extent has DPR been doing its work as regards that? So many of them will be having fuel, and they will say they don't have fuel. In the night, they will now be selling to kegs. So tell me, has DPR been functional? You see, when the head is rotting, there is nothing anybody can do except we rebuild it from the foundation. That is to say, what am I saying? We need to recalibrate our nation. It is only when we recalibrate our nation that we have all the institutions that has collapsed working. And where do we start from? From the head. Recalibration has to start from the head.
Yeah.
Somebody was discussing with me yesterday as regards education, certificate forgery.
Yeah.
I said, why would we be having certificate forgery? Check those people at the top. Check their certificates. Check it.
That's a can of worms you're about to open right now, Dr. Kayode.
So these are issues. These are issues because you talk about to sanction any filling stations. Who is going to sanction them? Who owns those filling stations? Who owns those filling stations? Don't they eat together? Don't they eat together? Are Nigerians buying PMS at the right price that they are supposed to be buying? Let us be factual. Let us be sincere. Are we buying it at the right price? Have some people not putting in some kind of money there that they have been taking behind us, and then lying?
Are there facts to back this up, Dr. Kayode? Because these are very strong allegations. You know that
they are not allegations. They are there. They are the public domain. They are these issues are in the public domain. There are no allegations. Nigerians are suffering, and not until when we decide to speak up, not until when we decide to speak up, the leader will not know that we are suffering.
But even with the amount of, you know, Nigerians speaking up, at least that was one of the things that led to the End Bad Governance protest that kicked off on the 1st of August. And after the president, gave a national, Dr. Adedayo, 1 minute, after the president gave a national address on Sunday, which was the 4th of August, it felt like every other thing just watered down. So how else do they want to, Nigerians want to present it to the government that we are suffering, we are tired of the hardship, there have been calls for conversation, there's been protests, but it feels like everything is just falling on deaf ears. So how else do they approach this situation to have their voices heard?
Smart, and you say that I'm opening another kind of words. It's you that is starting now. Let me tell you this. I've experienced it once outside of this country, whereby they were protesting, and some people decided to go and park their vehicles on a particular major road. On a particular major road, no movement. Nobody goes in, nobody goes out. Not up to 12 noon in the afternoon. The government ceded to their demand. And let me tell you this. If I'm to lead a protest in this country, the whole world will know. The whole world will know. You know what I will do? Do you know what I will do?
What will you do, Dr. Kayode?
I will make people to park their cars on Third Mainland Bridge, the two sides, on the Ikorodu Road, in front of the National Assembly, the entrance of National Assembly, the entrance of Aso Rock, the entrance of all these governors' offices and their residences. Nobody comes in, nobody goes out. Then we now go to the international airports, both Abuja and Lagos. We park cars on the roads. Nobody comes in, nobody goes out. Do you know what we know? Do you know what we hear that?
Dr. Adedayo,
we know that yes. Yes, you asked me to educate Nigerians, and I'm educating Nigerians. Right. If I want, what I will do?
But we also need to consider.
We won't be able to kill anybody. There is no doubt that we come and hijack it because you won't see any human being there. You only see cars. You only see cars.
You'll be shocked. These cars will be stolen. You'll be shocked.
Or we see a case of cars being looted.
Yeah. We just loot them.
Okay.
When we also put on some security measures, don't let me put that. Don't let it out of the class.
But let's.
You know I'm a technocrat.
Yeah, you are a socio-political technocrat.
When you're talking of a technocrat,
okay.
When you're talking of technocrat, we have different concepts, and that concepts are being developed from a particular framework to which you can always measure the successes along the line, and to which you can also recalibrate even along the line, to the extent that not until when success is achieved there won't be any going back.
Right. I think that's a safe place to land on this conversation.
I do want to land on this. Before he goes though, he said he was going to park cars and all of that. But I wanted to ask Doctor, isn't it said that where the exercise of one man's free will ends,
that's where another person's own begins?
That's all I got to say.
And that is why we need to put good heads together. Put two good heads together to be able to execute this, and that time is coming very, very soon.
Fingers crossed. We hope that
our lives.
God spare our lives. We hope that we'll be able to get to that point where we are able to express our demands without any fear. But now, you know, earlier when you were speaking, you touched briefly on certificates, forgery, and all of that. I would like to connect this with this recent update in regards to education, where the federal ASU and the NUT they are differing, as the federal government bans under 18 candidates to write the West Africa Senior School Leaving Certificate examination. Now, a lot of things, before you came on, Vivian and I talked about this, a lot of things are surrounding this situation. Looking at a climb like Nigeria, pegging 18 years before you can write your WAEC, a lot of people know it as WAEC. When you heard that headline or that development, first off, how did you react to it? Do you think it's a decision in the right direction, or we're missing it somewhere?
You see, it's mixed. It's a mixed issue.
Which is what you said, Sarah.
Yes, it's a mixed, because there are students and there are students. There are parents and there are parents.
Okay.
Let me use myself as an example. When my kids were growing up, I always had a kind of how do I put it now, gift to their performances.
No. Incentive.
If you're able to incentive, you're able to do this, yes, you will do this. Because when I too was growing up, during the days of Father Christmas, then not the kind of Father Christmas we have now.
Yeah.
You know, my father will tell us, the children, whoever is between first and 9 positions. You know that they always give position.
Yeah.
First, second, third, 9.
Yeah.
By Christmas, you will go to Kingsway in Ibadan to go and see Father Christmas. Then you also go to Zoo. Then Zoo Ibadan was flourishing.
Yeah.
That was when I told my father that I would like to come to this school. And throughout my stay in UI, I don't think I visited that school, that zoo for 2 times.
Wow.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Then from Zoo, you go to Leventis. To also eat, that time, all this assorted, whatever. Now, if your position is beyond 9, you will go to 2. You won't go to the 3.
Okay.
You will stay in the car. If it's beyond 15, you only go to 1. So everybody keep us struggling. We kept on struggling. Do you understand? So my kids, the same thing. To the extent between you and me, my last kid wrote his common entrance, both NECO and the normal one. Common entrance at when he was in primary 2, and entered JS1
from primary 2.
Exactly, I'm telling you the truth. Now, by the time he was in JS3, because he was trying to pursue his brothers. By the time he was in JS3, he was ready to write WAEC and score at least 60%. In English, mathematics, geography, and 1 or 2 sciences.
But isn't that putting the child way ahead of their age and their experience?
I said mixed. Listen to me. I said mixed. They are mixed things. Now, such a person, if he should go and write WAEC at age 14, because his brothers wrote a WAEC JAMB at age, the first one age 16, the other one age 15. But the issue is this: there are some children, they don't have, the parents did not develop that competitive habit into them. I don't know whether you understand. We are different parents. There are some, they will put in that competitive habit in their children. No doubt about it. And they now want to excel. But at the same time, you must also teach them what we call adversity coefficient. That's what we call adversity coefficient.
Dr. Kayode, we would like to pause you for a bit. We have a caller on the line. We have Samuel from Abuja. Good morning, Samuel. Thank you for joining us.
All right, thank you.
Please kindly turn down the volume of your TV set or whatever gadget you're using so we can hear you properly.
Okay, I've done that.
All right, please go on. Yes, in 60 seconds.
Yeah, I want to speak on the topic where the minister said that henceforth writing NECO and WAEC will be from the age of less than 18 years. I think that decision is very, very inconsiderate.
Okay.
You know, now most of their children are outside the country. Some of them are not up to the age of 15 and they are already in the university. Now they want to deprive the common man the opportunity for those intelligent children, those well-grounded children to pursue their academic careers. So I want to urge the government to please reconsider this time. If a child is good enough academically, he should be allowed to pursue his academic portion.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you.
Now,
all right.
As I was saying,
I don't know if Dr. Kayode actually heard what Samuel said.
I heard it. That's where I will land. That's where I will land.
Okay.
As I was saying, that's what we call adversity coefficient. But what people look at here is always IQ, intelligent quotient. Alright, when you develop intelligent quotient without teaching or developing the adversity quotient,
right? Yeah.
That is when when they rush the education, it can affect them later in future.
Yeah.
But the moment they know the issue as regards adversity and how to handle it,
yes,
I mean there is no problem.
Okay.
Because adversity will not tell you when it will come. Those are the things that my parents, especially my father, put us through.
Yeah.
Then, okay. Now, when you are not limiting them on when to write, where do you now put the geniuses? The geniuses. And mark you, when you don't allow such a child to move the way he is being wired by the Almighty, it can affect such a child psychologically. You have to think about the psychological effect it will have on such a child. Alright? So, we have to, for instance, now go to all these schools now. Who amongst them are having psychologists?
What? Say that again.
They don't have psychologists. Psychologists.
Okay.
That takes care of those children that will be able to monitor them. I remember a time I wanted to talk to one of my kids. He said, "Oh, Dad, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you now. I'm about to enter the office of my they call the psychologist or whatever in their school." They respect them a lot because these are people that monitor them. These are people that knows how to direct them. These are people that knows what their capacity is and what they can take in at any point in time.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So, how many of them are being involved in taking this decision?
Right.
Then have you also looked at our system? Have you also looked at our system, educational system, to find out that something is missing? There is nobody, especially all these private schools, even government schools, they don't have teachers that direct them appropriately,
like
according to their knowledge,
like guardians and counselors.
Their knowledge.
Yes.
Counselors.
Yeah.
Counselors. They don't have counselors. My child will tell me that I'm about to go and see my counselor. I can't talk to you now. Please, I talk to you 1 hour. Because they know that those counselors are very important within their educational career.
Right. Very true. So in essence,
counselors.
In essence, we need to balance both.
Yeah.
The child has,
Yes.
we have to
That's what I
strike
say
the
is
balance.
Yeah.
Right. You know,
Yeah.
we would have really loved to continue, but our time is fast spent. And I will always say what you always say. One day we will borrow time. We will get to that stage where we'll borrow time. But
Thank
it's been
you,
a pleasure.
Doctor. Yeah, you were
it's been
brilliant,
an
Jennifer.
interesting
Yeah,
one. Thank you so
fantastic.
much for joining us this morning, Dr. Adedayo Kayode.
It's my pleasure being with you.
Enjoy
Enjoy
the
the
rest
rest of the day. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, the clincher for me was when he said his parents told him how to overcome adversity. You know, you and I were talking earlier on, and we said holistic education it's not just merely academic.
Not just that, they
It's a
need to
whole
be prepared for what is outside.
Yeah.
They need to be equipped. But at the same time, we also need to make sure that we are not. Now, I'm a bit concerned, and I could not touch on that with Dr. Kayode, because some children will want to go to school even when they are not really equipped for it. How do we manage cases of forgery? When I mean forgery, changing dates on birth certificates, some sort of manipulation, just so that they can also enter and go or what have you. We need to holistically look at this.
It's a thin line. Then there's something you mentioned, you know. It's also important for parents not to put their kids under pressure.
Absolutely.
When
No
you're trying to-
comparison. Too.
Yeah.
Don't say, oh, have you seen this your
Yes.
friend or this
Or your
person's
brother.
child or your brother or your sister?
Yeah.
You know, you put the child under pressure and the child starts to feel less of themselves. So let children be children, monitor them, groom them, at the same time let them go at their pace so they are not feeling pressure. But that's it on this segment of the Breakfast Cafe. We've reviewed the papers, we've taken a look at some of the stories trending. We'll take a break now. We'll be back with our views from the net, where we have an interesting topic for the day. You want to keep your phone lines close by. We'll be back in a moment.
Myopic, myopic, myopic.
Something big is in town. Something powerful and majestic. A mammoth creation destined to become a legend by all who encounter it. High Impact Planet, Nigeria's biggest family theme park, with facilities designed for friends, families, or large groups under a relaxing atmosphere. Be welcomed by wowing displays of animatronics, thrill out with realistic arcade games, or enjoy a number of thrilling heart-racing park rides. Experience the 5D and 12D cinemas and challenge your mates with bumper cars and go-kart races. Don't forget to slide into the ice rink or simply take time out to enjoy a pizza at our delightful restaurant and dessert spot, or at the exquisite club lounge. High Impact Planet, 12 Lagos Ibadan Expressway, Ibafo, opposite MFM Prayer City. Visit high-impactplanet.com for details and inquiries. Fun just got real.
Well, if you just joined us, it's the Breakfast Cafe right here on High Impact TV. Always a pleasure to have you join us. So this segment is another very interactive one. Yeah, we get to put our questions online and then you send us your contribution. So this is what we asked. What improved your quality of life so much that you wish you would have done sooner? Awesome question. Sarah, is that something I'm trying to think? Nothing comes to mind, but
yeah, maybe before we finish this segment.
Absolutely, nothing comes to mind immediately. Maybe before we finish the segment, like Sarah said.
Right.
But Okoro from Just says, embracing a growth mindset and being open to learning from failures, which has helped me develop resilience and perseverance. Okoro from Just, it's a good thing. I like it.
Very true, but you know, you can also do well to let us know what your contribution on this is.
Yeah.
The question is, what improved your quality of life so much that you wish you had done sooner? Let us know. 0812-182-015 is the number to call. Is displayed on your screen. Let us know your thoughts on this. This is Tunde from Lagos, and Tunde says, prioritizing meaningful relationships and nurturing a strong support network, which has improved my mental health and overall well-being. Tunde from Lagos has prioritized meaningful relationships.
You know, as I'm thinking now, I think I know what I learned not too long ago that has really improved my life. Now, as a Christian, I thought my life would be magical. A bed of roses, no wahala, no confrontation, no adversity at all. I thought as a Christian, if I say bread will appear. Tea. Nah, I just learned that you've got to fight. This you have to do battle in life and overcome. Yeah, right. I think if I had learned that earlier on, it would have helped me. But I've got Nwosu from Imo State, and Nwosu says, practicing self-compassion and treating myself with kindness, which has helped me develop a more positive self-image and reduce self-criticism. Nwosu from Imo, nice one.
Right. Well, let's take Miriam from Ibadan. And this one says, learning to reframe negative thoughts and focus on solutions rather than problems, which has improved my mental clarity and reduced stress. You know, seeing Miriam's comment, actually, okay, one thing I can say right now is I used to focus. So, for example, if I had a challenge or a problem and I wanted to talk about it, I would keep hammering. I could hammer on the challenge for weeks. I could sulk over it, you know, keep complaining, and I would just dwell in it.
Yeah.
But then I realized that, okay, it's okay to talk about it, but it's even much more better to look for how to move forward from it. So rather than spending weeks sulking over it, dwelling on it, crying over it, I could talk about it once and, you know, share it with somebody, and next thing we're looking for, okay, how do we go past this? How do we deal with this? So yes, I used to think that when you dwell on a problem for so long, it will vanish. When you sulk on it, when you talk about it 1,000 times, you know, it would vanish. And then at the point, I had friends that after saying it like this, they're like, Sarah, what's going on?
Well, let's talk about this a little. When you dwell on a problem, you know what it does? It intensifies.
Actually, when I dwell on it and I start to see different angles that were not there before, I'm not like, okay, so this thing can happen from this problem and from that problem. And, you know, I realized that thinking about it now, seeing Miriam's comment, if I had learned to talk about it, okay, maybe cry over it once, okay, but don't dwell on it. If I had learned to do that earlier enough, I would have found solutions to problems faster than I found solutions to problems. So I've learned that don't dwell, don't sulk. Talk about it, share it with somebody if you want to,
and move on.
Yes, and this will greatly improve your mental health. I got John from Yabatek. Let's find out what John is saying, yeah? He says, embracing my cultural heritage and connecting with my roots, which has given me a sense of identity and belonging. It's different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely. Cultural heritage, connecting with roots. Very, very, very important.
Good.
Another thing for me, I think I've shared this on the show like 2-3 times, where I in secondary school growing up, I used to have a problem with how people saw my skin color.
Yeah, you said it
and
before.
It affected me. I didn't appreciate myself and realizing self-acceptance, appreciating myself. You know, by the time I started to do it, it actually improved how I view life. It improved the kind of things I accept, because then I would just accept anything from you. Say anything to me, I'll take it in. But when I started to see things differently, I always say that when I was in my 100 level, that was when I started to see things differently about my skin, and it helped me, you know, not just accept anything
whatever
from
anybody
anybody,
says,
you know. So that's another thing.
Wow.
But do not forget, you can be a part of the conversation. What is that one thing that has improved the quality of your life that you wish you had known or done sooner? 0812-182-0154 is the number to call. But let's take Adeyemi from Shomolu. Adeyemi says, prioritizing physical health and wellness, which has improved my energy levels and overall quality of life. Very, very important. You cannot throw away the importance of physical health and wellness.
I like this. What I see play out here is people placing premium on self-esteem. It is essential. Well, I got Queen from Great Yabatek, and she says, that's Olumide's friend. Queen says, learning to ask for help when needed and being vulnerable with others, which has improved my relationships and reduced feelings of loneliness. Before, I find it difficult to ask for help as I don't know what the person I'm about to ask something is going through. But I have learned the hard way that a closed mouth is a closed destiny. This is Queen from Great Yabatek.
You know, a lot of times people mistake asking for help as a weakness.
Yeah.
That the moment you ask for help, you're weak.
I have that weakness.
So, but yeah, I think Queen has helped us demystify it a little. Yeah. We need to understand that the fact that you're asking for help doesn't mean that you're not a strong person. It just means that you would be able to navigate this better if somebody is actually on board with you.
Yeah.
So we should learn to understand that asking for help doesn't make you less of a person. It just means that, okay, I need someone to help me navigate through this. You know,
Sarah, this should be a quote. We should write it down somewhere. This thing you just said.
There are also 2024.
Yes.
You know, very soon, by the time you open books for your project material, you just see there from page 7, Sarah Owusu, 2024. But overall, what I'm trying to say is, help is not. Now, it doesn't mean that you go about asking for. There are people avoid their calls.
Yeah.
That's the truth, because they always
ask.
But what I'm saying is, you need someone to help you emotionally. You're not okay mentally. You need help financially. You need help career-wise. You need help academically. It's not bad to. You can get a trusted person or a group of friends that you trust so much, and you guys can actually deal with it together. And most times I've realized that most of the people that don't like to ask for help like to lend out help a lot. So they don't like to ask you to help them, but they always want to be able to help you out. They want to be there to fill that vacuum for you, but they don't give you the space to fill that vacuum for them.
There's no balance.
There's no balance. So as much as you are willing to pour into me, I should be willing to pour into you, and you should give room for me to do that. So it's important to draw that, understand that. But this is Usman. Usman from Aja says, embracing challenges and stepping out of my comfort zone, which has helped me develop confidence and grow as a person, not getting comfortable where you are, stretching beyond your limits.
You know, if you don't take risks in life, you're just going to remain where you are.
But there are some risks.
Yes, there are some risks you don't take. I'm telling you.
As much as you're trying to take risks, use your head. When taking risks,
be mindful.
Don't take risks that will make you end up, if I could use the word crippled, not the literal meaning of crippled, but
I understand perfectly what you're saying.
Just use your head.
So, for example, when we're talking about risks, don't go and swim when you don't know how to swim.
don't be doing money doubling. Or you want to put your money into all this get rich quick schemes.
Yes,
where
like MMM.
You want to take the risk. Some of them work out, some of them don't.
Yeah.
But because you want to take the risk, you invest all your life savings of 1 million naira, and they tell you, oh, you're going to get 2 million naira in the space of 2 weeks, and you take it. Mom, they said we should take risk.
So this is the kind of risk I'm saying. For example, you want to try something different in your career. Embrace a career path you've never told before, and then learn, develop yourself, and see how it goes.
You want to learn a new skill?
Yes.
Handwork. You know, you just dare yourself.
Yeah.
That you can do this.
Yeah.
Or use your head at the same time.
Absolutely. Well, I got Tinuke from Ikorodu. Tinuke said, practicing gratitude and focusing on the present moment, which has improved my mental clarity and reduced worries about the future. This is a very good one. Practicing gratitude and focusing on the present moment, which has improved my mental clarity and reduced worries about the future. You know why this is important? People start worrying about tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, the day after the day after tomorrow, and they just lose it.
Yeah. They start thinking, okay, it's just, today's Tuesday. Some people are already worried till Sunday. No, that's the truth. Some people are, tomorrow, Wednesday, what would I eat?
Yeah.
What would I even wear? How am I even going to go out? There's fuel scarcity. Transportation has doubled. How do I even make it till Friday? And they're already having the headache of Saturday from Tuesday. That they forget to live in Tuesday, live in the moment, look out for opportunities that are in Tuesday. So it's important to understand all of this. But let's quickly take Ifoma from Lagos. Ifoma from Lagos says, learning to let go of perfectionism and embrace imperfection, which has reduced stress and improved my overall well-being. Ifoma, thank you so much for your contribution.
Yes. You know. Jay Daniels from Lagos says, getting a mentor improved the quality of life for me. Thank God I got a mentor.
Very true.
Yes.
I have a friend that always says something, you cannot do life yourself.
Yeah.
What they mean is, what that friend always says is that as much as you feel like you know everything, you cannot do it yourself. You always need somebody that can, you know, guide you on the right.
Absolutely, I agree.
Well, we'll quickly take Norris from Delta. Norris says, I wish I knew how to say no most of the time when it was necessary. Perhaps a lot of people wouldn't have had the opportunity to know me, and life would have been much better. I guess not knowing when to say no can put you in a lot of situations that even 1,000 yes cannot repair. So my people, please learn to say no and let it be that way.
Wow.
Stand your ground. When it's not convenient for you, don't say yes.
But the thing is you can only give what you have, right? If you start giving what you don't have, you're going to just pack up, and that would do nobody any good. Last but not least, Fema. He says Fema, not Femi.
I like that. So don't think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
It's not Femi.
It's Fema. Fema, not Femi, from Lagos. Exercises, Sha. Well, since I started, my BP has been steady, normal. Appetite increased for this SAPA. It's SAPA, right?
SAPA period.
Appetite increased for this SAPA period, and I feel better every day overall. And that's from Fema. Fema is right here in Lagos. And that wraps it up for us in this segment. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.
As a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, "What a ride!" High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Stoical, stoical, stoical.
Welcome back to the Breakfast Cafe on High Impact Television. We've gone through so many segments already. Right now, we'll move into another important segment where we take a look at something very critical. Now, in Nigeria, the demand for accountability and transparency has become a powerful rallying cry among citizens and activists alike. Now, for decades, the nation has grappled with issues of corruption, mismanagement of resources, and a lack of transparency in government affairs. These challenges have stifled development and eroded public trust in leadership. However, a new wave of activism is emerging, driven by collective determination to hold those in power accountable. Now, on that note, we'll be having a conversation this morning on the topic demanding accountability, activism, and the quest for transparency in Nigeria's government. And joining us to have this conversation is Femi Adeyeye. He's a political activist and co-convener Fund Education Coalition. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Femi Adeyeye.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. It's our pleasure. You know, we're talking about activism. We're talking about issues surrounding it, demanding accountability. When a lot of people have, have a different understanding of the word activism. So, as an activist, can you bring us up to speed? What exactly is the meaning and the context of activism, particularly in being practiced in a climate like Nigeria?
All right, thank you very much for that question. It has quite many times has become very contentious, and especially because of so many intricacies that you have within the definition in Nigeria. But to make it very simple, because you do not have to go to Harvard to understand this very simple concept. To make it very simple is to say an activist is an active citizen. Yes. So a citizen who is conscious about the political happenings, the citizen who is ready to take action, because it has a root in the word action. Okay. So an activist is an active citizen, to put it very simply. It is not a profession. It is not as against what you can now see in Nigeria today, where people have now so much commercialized activism in this country because they do not understand it. So what we say is that citizens must move away from being docile, and then they become active, and at that point they become activists. So that's what it is basically, and nothing so academic.
Right. Let me just take you up on this question now. You've given a background to what activism is. Now, in Nigeria, how have the political and economic systems influenced the development of civil society and activism at large?
Yes, the truth of the matter is that the material conditions in Nigeria today is actually pushing everybody to become activists. And that's the truth. Actually. Because when you cannot eat morning, afternoon, nights, the price of fuel is skyrocketing. The standard of living basically is off the roof, and so it's making quite a number of our persons to become very active citizens. To be cautious of their own sufferings, and they begin to speak against some of these things, to even begin to mobilize themselves for action. Look at the last End Bad Governance protest. It's very organic. You do not even have to tell anybody, discuss the issues with anybody before they troop to the streets, to fight for their survival. So the economic condition, the political condition in Nigeria is giving birth to a lot of active citizens, and we would see many of them in the coming days. Talking about the civil society organizations, yes, because it is proliferating, because you have a number of issues to talk about, from climate change to gender activism to environmental activism, political activism, even activism among the people we call people with disabilities. So there are quite a number of issues to actually address, because our society has for a long time dropped this ball. I mean, our politicians, they've dropped the ball of governance, and what they are so interested in is propaganda as of today. So because they've dropped it, that is why you would have a lot of civil society organizations addressing issues that government themselves should address. So that is why you have what you have today in our space.
I like that you painted a vivid picture earlier on of how not being able to eat morning, afternoon, and evening makes an activist out of people, right? In the last protest, the hashtag End Bad Governance protest, you had opposing groups. You had a group that came out to say, do not protest. And you had another group that was protesting hunger. Now, this is my question to you. As an activist yourself, what are the primary strategies and tactics you would employ to demand accountability and transparency?
Yeah, the truth of the matter is that we have actually moved beyond demanding accountability, because you can only demand accountability from people who are willing to be accountable. That's the truth. In Nigeria today, quite a number of things are done with so much opacity that you cannot even understand, from budgetary allocation. So, today we are still fighting over how much do our senators, how much exactly do they receive? You get, someone will come here today, will tell you 14 million. Another person will come, another senator himself. I'll tell you, it's not 14 million, no. Me, I collected 21, no. Another one will say, no, it's between 15 to 20. So, and you're telling me, as an active citizen, to demand accountability from people who are not even accountable to themselves, within themselves, they are not accountable. So, it is a serious issue. So, for us, we are mobilizing people to change the system from the roots. So, there is activism and there is a revolutionary duty. So activism can actually still, when a house, for example, has a faulty foundation. Let me use this analogy. Activism would maybe we want to paint the house, we want POP. But a revolutionary duty is to go to the foundation of that issue and do what we builders. Yes,
I like it,
because you cannot be painting a house that has a faulty foundation. It does not make sense. Right. So the foundation of Nigeria as of today is faulty. It is faulty. We had, for example, I will be in Abuja on Monday. I will be discussing the Electoral Act. So when I got the information, I was just laughing. I said, which Electoral Act are we amending again? In an election where the INEC chair is appointed by the president, who is also contesting in that election. So there are quite, it's just like you are going into a match and you are the one appointing the referee. So this is a fundamental.
What are you now saying? No, what are you saying? That the independent, the INEC is not actually independent. That's what you're saying.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm not the only one saying it. In fact, senior advocates of Nigeria, different, we've seen one, a partisan, official of the APC, almost becoming a resident electoral commissioner. I'm talking about Loretta Onochi. If not for the noise that we all made across board. She was almost becoming a resident electoral commissioner. And from there, she's going to, continue and then would become an INEC chair. So there are fundamental issues, there are foundational issues we need to tackle. Not just, to mobilize people for action is very easy. You can do that in 24 hours. Oh, there is a problem in this, in our country, let us move out. But we need to organize our people beyond just mobilizing them. We need to organize them, make them see the issues, over time. And so every one of us can mobilize towards a lasting solution and not this way of circumambulating around the issues that we've been doing all these years.
Right. I'd like to take a follow-up question in regards to this conversation around accountability and transparency. And I'd like to connect it with the End Bad Governance protest. Now, I know that you're one of people that, you lend your voice out a lot in terms of activism. Now, we have heard the report of protesters that have been held without any trial, if I could use that word. This morning, even the Guardian newspaper has it that Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has rallied the NBA against the illegal arrest and detention of protesters, even journalists. I know Deji Adeyanjutu has lent his voice talking about how these protesters are being detained without even a proper trial or opening of the case to what exactly their crime is. NSAS protesters, some of them have been held in custody. A report has it that about 2,000 plus protesters are being held all over you know, for crimes that we don't even really have details on. Now, as an activist, we've heard voices come out to call for their release and what have you. What other strategies can you employ, and what are the other ways you can, you know, reach out to the government to ensure that cases like this, illegal detention, is addressed and people are free to go out to protest because they know they will come back home?
All right, I like how you landed, and that's a very good one. But the thing is this: it is quite unfortunate where we find ourselves in this country. Even in the darkest days of the military, I never, because I was not born then, but I could, you know, I mean, I was not conscious then. I was born actually. It was never this bad. Even when activists were picked up and sent to court and all of that, pardon, immediately the courts looks at the facts of the matter. Many times they are released. But today, under what I call civilian dictatorship, the courts itself, because if you want to talk about other means, you will be talking about the courts. That, oh, why not, you know, aside just protesting about, you know, calling for their release, you know, approach the court and all of that. Let me say it here. Without these people facing trial, appearing before any judge, the judge, Justice Mwete of Federal High Court Abuja, granted an order to the police to detain them for 60 days. In fact, that they should be remanded in prison for 60 days. It is only in Nigeria you pick up somebody, lock the person up for, you know, arbitrarily, you know, for as long as possible, and then you start doing your investigation. Nigerian police would never do investigation before the arrests.
If I may ask,
Like,
what are the charges that are laid? What are the charges against these people that have been asked to detain them for 60 days? Are they stated?
Funny charges like terrorism financing. Out of these persons, 30 of them, their accounts have been, you know, frozen by the courts. There was also a court order to freeze their account, and these are people who do not even have 5,000 naira in their accounts. You know, if you check the charge sheet, you will find 14-year-old, 16-year-old. How would people like that finance terrorism? So, financing terrorism, treasonable felony, in a bid to overthrow the government. In fact, the police were so foolish to the point that in the charge sheets, they said they wanted to, they were financed to overthrow the government by raising of a placard of banners. Wow. Where do you overthrow a government? Yes, it's in the charge sheet. I can share with you. Where do you overthrow a government? By carrying banners and placards. It goes to tell you that these people are not serious, and they are just going about to create fear, you know, in the populace. But all these tactics is going to fail, because Nigerians who stood against Abacha until he was kicked out of power, or he was disgraced out of power, will not budge. We've seen the darkest of days. And so this one that is happening right now, it shows that they are weak. Whenever tyranny is at this level, and I'm saying this to some of you know, activists and, you know, social justice advocates, whenever tyranny is at this level, where over 2,000 protesters presently in Nigeria are detained across these detention centers, over 2,000 people, where journalists cannot perform their duty anymore without fear, where people would have, look at what happened to PDOM. It was picked up, the police that cannot track kidnappers, that cannot track terrorists who post on Twitter, that cannot track terrorists who hold rallies. Maybe you don't know. Terrorists now hold rallies in this country. Terrorists hold crusades in this country. They can't track those ones. But a journalist who is exposing, you know, who is only being a critic of the government, you could track them down. In fact, what we heard was that PDOM was blindfolded, taken to solitary confinement, tied to the back, handcuffed to the back. That is what we've seen. Recently, Adejumo Soyinka, coming from the UK, was also picked up at the airport. So all these things that are happening are pointing to the fact that tyranny is here with us. But what we must do at this time is to buckle up, you know, roll up our sleeves and fight this tooth and nail. We are going to fight it on the streets through protest. We are going to fight even in their courts, even though we know they are the ones who own those courts. But we'll challenge them to ask that if there is a rule of law in this country, why do you pick up people and then you grant an order to even minors, 14-year-old, 16-year-old, prison or protesting just for becoming active citizens, like I've said earlier, as if being an active citizen is a crime.
Let me come in here. Earlier on you said you've gone beyond demanding for transparency and accountability. Now, in this age of information technology, how do you as an activist utilize social media and technology to mobilize support and amplify the voices of the people?
Yes, there are empirical evidence to that. In fact, what we're doing right now with social media, I know this is live on Twitter, I know this is live on YouTube, so it's part of it. NSAS protests, started actually on Twitter when the video, and if the government if they had two options today, to either allow, to either be in power or take out Twitter or take out social media, they would go for, social media, because it has actually exposed them, it has made more people active citizens, so that when something is happening in your area, you can pick up your phone, you can record it, you can post it online, you can talk about it, you have your opinion about issues. Before, it used to be, in the media space, it used to be the editors who had the exclusive preserve of determining what to out, any news that. But today in Nigeria, everyone is now a newsmaker. Everyone is now a producer of news. If you can use your phone very well, definitely so it has helped a lot. Yeah, definitely, it has helped to expand the space, for activism, for media and things like that. So as activists, we continue to teach people that social media is actually a tool, but it will not replace the number of legs that we need on ground to fight injustice. It is just a tool. It will not, there's for me, I don't believe that there's something called social media activism. I was in a workshop where I said I don't believe in social media activism. I believe it is just a tool to mobilize people out on the street for the different actions. Definitely, you can write petitions, you can submit letters, you can be on TV to talk about issues, you can, there are so many physical actions that social media would not replace. So social media is a tool, and we must, understand that, so that we don't replace it and then we are not having results. Right. So that's it, basically.
Very, very true. But before we go, because our time is fast spent, as an activist, what's that one word you put out to Nigerians that feel like, okay, you know what, we're done, we're tired, we have lent our voices, it has not been heard, we've gone out for protests, some of us have not come back, our lives are not safe. What is that one word you put out to Nigerians that can, stir them up to hold on to that belief, not to lose their hope, in 30 seconds?
Yeah, so this is what I would say, that the price you pay for liberty is eternal vigilance. You don't have to go and sleep, at this time. When the likes of Martin Luther King fought racial segregation, Malcolm X fought racial segregation in the United States of America, is that to say racism has ended? No, but they played their own role at that time to open up the space, make it an issue, add quite a number of victories, quite a number of concessions. So it is a continuous phase. We should not allow, there should never be a day when people are now so afraid to criticize their own government. That day should not happen. That day should not happen. So we must continue, and I think that was what happened during the End Bad Governance protest. Despite all the threats, vitriolic, ethnic diatribes around it. Oh, don't come out. To the point that it even brought out political Oro. That Oro would come out, and if you do, you can't protest in Lagos. People showed, the tyrannical regime that we are not a conquered people, we are not a defeated people who would come out and would protest, and that was what happened. So this is not the time to back down. This is the time to add more fire, to the furnace. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Femi Adeyeye, political activist. Thank you for joining us this morning and for sharing your thoughts. We'll do well to have you some other time, to talk about some other trending stories.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Right. We just had a conversation with Femi Adeyeye. He's a political activist. You know, we touched on this issue of activism, but we could not take all our questions because of our time. That's why I'm sure we're going to have a continuation of this conversation. You know, he said something towards the end. This is not the time to go and sleep. It's a continuum.
Yeah, he said
we have to keep fighting.
The price for liberty is eternal vigilance.
Eternal vigilance. You can't go to bed right now. You just have to make sure that there's a price ahead, just as though there's a price ahead, and you need to, you know, earn that price. So we keep pushing.
Yeah.
But that's it on this segment. Thank you so much. We'll take a break. We'll be back with our trendy story for today. To stay with us.
This is my mother, so from time to time I usually come to visit her because she does not have a particular place that she stays. So from this street to the other, I just get her things with the little money that is on me. Actually, when we lost our dad, the load became very much on her, and you know, I and my siblings, we are many in the family, but I'm the one that is always coming around where she is. So when her father died, the load became much, and maybe she couldn't handle it because they were very much in love. So I don't know, the thing just happened, and this is how we saw her. Myself, I'm even confused because nothing was wrong with her before. Initially, nothing was wrong, but then I don't know what happened. I don't know if this is herbalist work. I don't know if it's nature. I don't know what actually happened, but it's very unfortunate. It's unfortunate, as the thing started in a day, she will still get fine in a day. That's what I believe in. Sometimes people see me and they'll be like, daughter of a mad person. But the thing is just that I'm very sad about it. It makes me sad, and I feel jealous when I see that their mothers, they are okay. But you know, life happened, and then this is where we are. I usually pray, like I usually pray. There is no church that I've not gone to just for everything to be okay. And I'm hoping that in the future, like, everything will turn out fine, and she will definitely be okay. I know these people that is laughing at me, calling me daughter of a mad woman, see her mother. God will usually we put them to shame. He will put them to shame for me, because I know that the God I'm serving is alive. So nothing.
Now, on our trending story for today, that video you just watched is a very disturbing video of a woman who is a little bit unstable, you know, being in a video with her daughter. You know, her daughter was talking about how she got into that state after the loss of her husband, and how she wanders around. However, this particular video has garnered different reactions, and the Minister of Women Affairs, in person of Uju Kennedy, has come out to condemn this. Now, she made a statement. She says, "We condemn the disturbing video report of a woman's mental illness being exploited by her daughter for personal gain and social media content. This is unacceptable, potentially harmful and troubling. We strongly condemn exploiting vulnerable individuals, especially those struggling with mental health issues. Mental illness demands compassion, understanding and support, not ridicule or exploitation." Now, the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs urgently requests information about the mother's identity and condition to ensure proper care and protection. A reward is offered for prompt location assistance. appropriate actions must be taken to address this situation. Now, we call on everyone to respect the dignity and humanity of those facing mental health issues and report similar instances immediately. Let's work together to prevent exploitation and support those who need it wrong. Now, this is the Minister of Women Affairs talking, condemning the daughter for filming her mother. Now, she tagged it as a form of exploitation, that she's exploiting the woman in regards to her mental situation. And I know you also, when we're talking about this, you were also disturbed as to why she would film her mother and put her on social media. But then I was talking about the flip side to it. This could actually be what she wanted to achieve. A sort of attention, a sort of care, a sort of people should actually notice what is going on so that they can look into helping her mother.
So we are only making assumptions here. I was going to ask, what was her motive? She did not ask for help. If you listen to the video, she didn't ask for help at any point. What was her motive? Personally, I have a problem with her putting her mom on TV. This was a well-packaged interview. You know, she had a mic, and probably there was a camera. This wasn't just a phone or something. And if you were going to do stuff like this, her mom is very vulnerable. She shouldn't have showed her face. It should have been anonymous. It should have been just her back or her hands. What if the woman becomes better in the future and happens to come across this video? That said, the girl is a very courageous girl. She's young, and she comes to her mom, and I saw, oh my gosh, it was so touching. Her mom was even, you know, connecting with her daughter. They were laughing, and she bought snacks for her and drinks, which is good. And Sarah, let's talk a little bit about Oju's comment. She was very hard on the girl, you know, at the beginning. But you see what she did at the end? She said, however, we are going to care for the woman.
And they are even giving a reward for anybody that can find her location. But you know that Nigerians react to things differently. Let's take the comment. I saw a comment pop up not too long ago. Nigerians have reacted to the minister's comment. And this one is Ada Ikwere. She says, keep your condemnation to yourself, ma. Oh, she's addressing the comments made by the Minister of Women Affairs. You don't know how she struggles on a daily basis with her mom under this harsh economy. Creating content to go viral so help could meet them is now what condemning. She had sent you a DM seeking for help. You would have responded.
Or maybe it's a question. Has she sent you?
Would you, if she had sent you a DM seeking for help, would you have responded? I want to guess that's what this person meant. What exposure has she exposed the mother that hasn't been exposed before? Yet no help came. You don't feed people. Let them have their lives and get help when need be. When the mama they room they go, it wasn't worth condemning. By right, isn't it the duty of a government to take care of special people like her mom? And Ada ends it with a sigh and a sad emoji.
This particular comment has a lot of vitriol. There's anger and all of it. But then at the end of the day, it's the responsibility of government to take care of vulnerable citizens.
That's like where the minister made the comment that they're going to, you know, anybody that has a location so that they could, you know, properly take care of the woman and make sure that she's...
But Sarah, doesn't it surprise you that we have millions of churches in Nigeria, mosques,
religious centers at
large, and you see people roaming, homeless people, people who are helpless and still, I mean...
I think this goes beyond religious centers. There are also organizations that, you know, are supposed to look out for
like which one now?
And cater to their needs. I'm trying to get the name of one top of my head.
But why are you mentioning like religious centers? Because these places are where you say people should come to for help. This is the kind of help they should offer, not just collect offerings on Sundays.
But at the end of the day, we hope that we would be able to, the location of this woman is gotten and the adequate care and help that she requires is given to her and she regains normality. But normalcy, I beg your pardon. But that's it on the trending segment. Let's leave you with weather forecast. We'll be back shortly.
this is our show for today. I got to say thank you to everyone that contributed to making the show a success, because when I look back from 7 a.m. when we started, I see what a ride. But a bigger thanks to you for watching. My name is Vivian Oguche. Until I come your way again, have a fantastic day ahead.
A major thanks to our guests, Dr. Adedayo Kayode and Femi Adeyeye, for sharing their thoughts with us. Do not forget to follow us across all of our social media platforms at High Impact Studios, High Impact TV, and The Breakfast Cafe _. I am Sarah Owusu, and do have yourself a fantastic Tuesday.